Hey guys, welcome back to the His and Hers the Truth podcast. My name is Tuan. This is my beautiful wife.
Sim, great seeing everyone. And thank you guys. You know what? If you love our channel and, you believe in what we're talking about, please press the like button, subscribe. And that way it shows that you guys are interested in our channel.
Yeah, real quick, guys. Happy holidays, right? Merry Christmas to everyone out there. It's getting close to that time of the year
Yes, it
again.
is.
And like my wife was saying, guys, we noticed the recent uptick in subscriptions. So thank you so much, right? Do us a huge solid and smash that like button. And of course, always watch our videos, right? Watch our reactions. And of course, give us some shares. And of course, comment and questions. We are planning to shoot shorts videos. We'll see how it's going to work out because the short videos are kind of short. But we're going to try to see if we can react to your guys' comments or answer your guys' questions in that little quick of a period. Okay. Today's video, we have a little bit something different today, honey, because I wanted to do something that has obviously been kind of blowing up media in general, not just kind of Asian cultural media, right, but just the whole media in general, and that is the recent Shohei Ohtani signing with the LA Dodgers, right? And obviously, guys, how this relates to our channel is because we talk about how self-improvement, Asian men, right, things that we can do to help our Asian brothers out, and of course, how it relates to the truth with your values, correct? And so we wanted to, at least I wanted to cover a few of the big main topics concerning this contract and everything like that with my wife. She's kind of familiar with it, but she doesn't know the exact details. So I'll kind of go over the little, the major exact details with you, honey. And I kind of wanted to get your reaction, to it. Okay. All right. So let's begin. Right.
As we can see.
Yeah. So we're gonna kind of play his his introduction to the Dodgers in the background, guys. But just in general, we're not gonna be reacting to a video. We're just kind of talking about the contract and some of the particulars about the contract and what does it mean to Asian men, Asian people, especially Asian worldwide, like the image of men in our world, right? And then of course, like I said, just kind of how it relates to the truth. Okay, so. If you guys have been living under a rock and no one's, right? This has been big news, right? It's been going around. This is such big news, right? That it's not even just sports channel are showing it. It's pretty much like every news channel has reported it because it's literally the biggest value sports contract ever, right? It's now, I know there's some soccer contracts, in the past, right? Ronaldo, Messi, that maybe they got paid a little bit more per year, the way it was broken down. But just overall, the number, right? It's the biggest number contract, regardless of years and regardless of money per year, right? At 700. I think the next closest one was Messi's contract from a few years ago, and it was like 684, right? And guys, shout out to Messi, but soccer is way more of a big international sport than baseball is, right? Because I want to give my wife and obviously you guys out there that don't know a little bit kind of obviously context, right? Because soccer is way big everywhere, right? The whole world watches soccer, whereas baseball is kind of only an American westernized sport, although it is starting to become popular overseas, but it's nowhere near the following of soccer. So what do you think about that, honey bun? Just the fact that it's the biggest sports contract number-wise of all time.
No, I mean, to me, I think he deserves it. I mean, he's like the sort of the goat of baseball, from what he can do. He can, hit. He's done so much to show that he deserves that spot. You know what I mean? So to me, for an Asian person, an Asian man especially, to up his game, to do that, consistently hold himself, up to par, and now showing it to the world that, hey, you as an Asian man, if you have a dream, if you have a goal, you can achieve it just like I did. I didn't come from an heir family or whatever else, right? Or whatever else. But his dream from it as a childhood to become a baseball player, his persistence, his perseverance, and all that stuff now made him this big. So
okay, so
that saying.
Yeah, so I want to always, like I said, we can talk about 100%. We can talk about the contract, right? And it's kind of its uniqueness, right? It's the biggest contract because obviously he's a two-way player. He hits and he pitches. But how does that relate to kind of what we talk about? And to me, it's like the fact that he's an Asian player that not only was able to do this, guys, because think about it, right? Let's all be honest with ourselves. If you had thought of the ethnicity, right? If someone had told you 10 years ago, 20 years ago, right, that, hey, there's going to be a baseball player that is going to go do something that has never done before and only has been maybe sort of done back in like when Babe Ruth actually did it a long time ago, and you had to guess what that ethnicity would have been, would you have really guessed an Asian guy doing that?
Most of you guys would not have an Asian guy on top because, first of all, you already would think like, oh, Asian men, they're not that tall.
Correct.
Asian men, they're not that athletic.
Correct.
Asian men, they're a little introvert than extrovert.
Correct.
You know, all that other stuff. You would think more of the negative stuff about us than the positive. Like, hey, Asian men can be tall. Asian men can be sporty. Asian men can prove themselves that they can make that mark up there with all the other ethnicities.
Well, let's
you know.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, I'm glad that he did it because that's what I'm saying. He broke that stereotype.
Yeah.
He broke that kind of that he's the exception to the norm. Not only for obviously all ethnicities, right, being able to hit and pitch at that level, but the fact that he's Asian and was able to do it. I think we need to, as an Asian community, really kind of like push that angle so much more than we're doing right now, right? Because this is kind of what we do. This is what we always do. Right? We see someone achieve something like this. And this is not even like success in terms of like, right? There's not even like a success in terms of like the first, right? Or, you know, you got the first Asian president, or you got the first Asian doctor, or you got the first Asian thing. Guys, this is the best player of all time. He's on the freaking like the list, right? On the debate, on the topic of saying people are saying that he is the greatest of all time, right? And the fact that the Western media is showing this, and then of course the sports media is promoting it, but I don't see this really being promoted in our Asian population or Asian media. And I get it, like we don't have a huge Asian media, right? But you don't see this being promoted on the Chinese website. You don't see this. Yeah, you see this doing pretty much just Japanese only, right? And shout out to the Fung brothers. They did something about this recently, and they kind of they're talking about kind of what we're talking about right now. Is how is this related to kind of what's going to change the Asian man stereotype in Western society? Right?
Yes, it does. It would change. That's what we're trying to say in our channel. We focus about the Asian men, improving yourself, and Asian women, like, hey, look at your Asian man too. But this is a stepping stone, guys. He's Asian, no matter what on his checkbox. He's not white. He's not Hispanic. He's going to be on the checkbox of Asian. It doesn't matter. Like I've told you before, right?
Yeah,
when we
do
the checkbox, Japanese, Chinese, Cambodian, Thai, Malaysian. What is your checkbox when you guys mark? Asian. Yeah. So why are we not advertising that? Why are we not supporting? Why are we not nurturing our kids? Why are we not pushing forward? When our Asian person, actors, actress, stars, people who are like this already, put it on your channel. Support your Asian fam. We are a family, guys. We got to nurture. We got to care for each other. If we don't do that, then guess what? It's just like, oh, well, he's from Japan. Well, you know what? Japanese people can support him. Although, you know what? You're just so far sort of segregating yourself again. Yeah. And then you wonder why other Asian people aren't supporting each other. Because it's like, well, you're not supporting me. Why should I support you? Yeah. But when you look at Caucasian people, you look at Black people, they don't group, oh, yeah, you're from this Australia, you're from that. You're white looking, they support you. You're Black, they support you. It doesn't matter what part of Africa or wherever else you are.
And guys, they might have done that like way back in the day, and I'm talking about white people specifically, right? Because when Black people started making achievements, someone tell me if I'm wrong, but I never really heard of them saying, oh, this Black person was from this part of Africa or
Ethiopia,
or from this part of thing, right? Yeah. Because granted, they were mostly African American, right, or Black American, so they've already been kind of living here generationally, right? But my point is, to my wife's point, actually, is that we still don't even do that, even if we're an Asian American living here in America and we do well, right? I mean, we shot a video in the past where we were kind of pointing out like all the first time, right? Who was the first Asian basketball coach? Who was the first Asian CEO executive? And they were American Asians. These weren't like immigrant or even like Shohei, being from Japan specifically coming here. No, these were Asian Americans, and we didn't promote them, right? And so, yeah, like I said, we need to do a better job of a community, talk about it more, be proud a little bit more, and obviously advocate for that a little bit more, right? Let's move on because I don't want to stuck on too much of that topic, but yeah, I think that's a great, let's just say this. This is an opportunity for us as Asian Americans to use what Shohei has done to help our image, right? And we should take advantage of this. Okay, let's talk about a couple other things. You had alluded to kind of like his, the introvert aspect of Asian men, right? And unfortunately, Shohei has kind of that stereotype, right? He's not very outgoing. He's not obviously speaks English that well, right? From what we know, he speaks a little bit of English, but obviously not enough to hold a conversation. And so how do you think that's going to affect, I guess, the image moving forward and everything else, honey?
Well, that part, Shohei, if you're ever watching our channel on our His and Hers podcast, that's the only, I would say, a little bit of negative part I would have to say is, hey, you know what? You can spread your wings even more if you spoke the language, if you learn a bit of English. You know what I mean? Instead of having, I understand you have a pretty good, I don't know, he's probably getting paid thousands of dollars per minute, per hour, whatever it is. But you know what? It's nice to learn English if you're already gonna play here. You know what I mean?
Okay. And I'm gonna be very specific.
So
yes, I'm gonna be very specific because this is what happens
to get yourself better.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna be very specific, guys, because this is the problem. If you're an Asian and you're still holding on to your traditional value, meaning if you're Japanese and you only speak Japanese and you obviously appear and obviously, very Japanese in image, or if you're Vietnamese, whatever, right? You speak your own language and you don't speak obviously English, American, people are going to literally, unfortunately, just lump you with that ethnicity only, right? And this is the other problem too. You're never going to get asked. And guys, maybe, like I said, maybe someone watches this show. We're not a big channel, but hopefully maybe there's a reporter, maybe there's an Asian brother out there that I can ask this question, or maybe someone posts it online to Shohei, right? But this is the problem. I don't see him being asked, how do you think your success, your image, your contract affect the Asian American image of men? I don't think he's going to get asked that question. And the reason why I bring this up, guys, is because Tiger Woods was asked this question. Right? Tiger Woods was asked this question. A lot of athletes, when they become superstars like this, the greatest of all time conversations, they start being looked at as, unfortunately,
role
models, influencers, right? And not only just influence in the sports world, but influence in the world, the cultural world, right? So I remember specifically Tiger Woods was asked this, what ethnicity do you really think yourself as? Right? And what do you promote? Because obviously the black community accepted him with open arms. Asian community, unfortunately, not so much, right? Right?
And that's the sad part. When he's Asian too.
He's actually more Asian than anything else. But this is the problem. When he was asked that question, instead of taking that opportunity to promote Asian excellence, Asian culture, he just said, I'm a mix of all these races and I don't really assume myself as one more or the other. Okay, so a great opportunity to promote Asian men, Asian whatever in the American eyes view. You didn't take that initiative, right? And this is the problem with a lot of sports athletes, and because they don't have the backing of the Asian community, because they don't really see an upside to say, well, I'm Asian, right? Because there's a lot of Asian athletes out there, right? I know like Tommy Pham on the Diamondbacks is one, right? Corbin Carroll is another one on the Arizona, right? But you don't really see them out there saying, I'm an Asian person, I'm an Asian man, and I'm freaking doing great, and I'm promoting a side.
You don't see the Asian reporters even coming to write about him, like, hey, you know what? These guys are Asians too. Hey, support your Asian brothers, do this, more advertisement, put it on your local newspaper, put it out there, put it in your channels. You guys aren't really doing that. So why is it these athletes want to support you? Because now they're sort of like leaning away, like, hey, but then you got the open arms, like, hear society.
Yeah, I
Whatever
don't see,
other place.
and what I'm trying to say, guys, is I don't see any of these athletes, right? You see a lot of black athletes, right? You see a lot of white athletes, even. They'll do programs for like inner city kids, or obviously youths that are less fortunate, or just whatever, or they'll give back to their community, right? A white man will go back to his community and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna open up a little league camp, and I'll help these young kids, right? Like play baseball." You don't see that with our Asian athletes, right? You don't see our Asian athletes going back to the community and be like, you know what? There's not a whole lot of Asian dudes playing my sport, right? I don't see a whole lot of Asian kids playing baseball, freaking in America. Why don't I freaking set up a camp and start promoting more of my my kids, right? The Asian kids growing up, that they don't have to be a doctor, they don't have to be a lawyer, they don't have to be an engineer.
Your parents don't got to be well off, but you're accepted because you know
Correct.
why? You're in this sort of like that what is it, like the YMCA or Boys and Girls Club? Like, if you don't have money, we'll be there to help you type deal. We don't have that.
There's not programs for Asian youths, Asian men, Asian kids in that respect. There isn't. There's a lot for black kids, Mexican kids, right? A lot of the Hispanic athletes will go back to their Latin countries and do this with their young kids, right? And don't get me wrong. I'm sure, in Japan, I'm sure Shohei has something. I'm sure Ichiro has something. They're probably giving back to, but Japan already has a baseball culture, right? I'm talking about like Asian countries that don't play baseball, right? We could get this connection. Right? How did China get so big with basketball? Right? Because obviously someone had to promote, and obviously they're Chinese athletes, right? Freaking the Houston Rocket guys. God, I'm blanking on him. The tall dude, right? And then obviously, Yao Ming. Yao Ming way back in the day, right? And then of course, Jeremy Lin from recently, right? But my point is, these athletes are going back to their homeland and supporting their thing, but they're not doing it with just Asians as
They're
a
just
whole.
going China.
They're just going
They're just
China.
here. They're just going
right?
there.
And you can see the success of it, right? So it's like, my Asian brothers who are successful, why are we not trying to tackle the overall picture? Right? I get it. Maybe, hey, you just want to just hit your own ethnicity. But I think in America, that doesn't make sense. Maybe back in the homeland, that makes sense, right? You go back to China and spread that to China. But as a whole in a Western America, it doesn't make sense, right? Because no one's going to just like equate you. Like my wife said, the white people, black people, they're not going to say, oh, you're just Japanese. They're going to say, you're just Asian, man. They're going to just equate us all as one bucket, one ethnicity. Okay, last thing I want to talk about, right, honey? So that aspect, I think, like I said, we need to do a better job of advocating, right, and pushing up our Asian brothers. And then, of course, we need to freaking, obviously, do a better job of giving back
to the community,
to promote, right? And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was his contract, real quick. Just because I have kind of a mixed feeling if this is going to hurt Asian men image as a whole, because we talked about how kind of Shohei is quiet and introverted, right? But he also deferred a lot of his contract. So even though it's a $70 million a year contract, he deferred 98% of it. So technically he's only getting paid $2 million a year. So in a way, I guess what I'm trying to say, my brothers out there, is like, this is such a, I guess for lack of better words, kind of an Asian-esque contract, right? It's like, I'm not doing this for the money, right? Because if this was a white athlete or a black athlete or a Hispanic athlete, they'd be saying, hell no, give me I'm going to get paid, right? Bling, bling, show me the freaking money, right? Right? Jerry Maguire, show me the freaking money. Start rolling the Lambos, start freaking flossing the watches, right? Dating the pretty girls, freaking showing, hey, I just became a high-value man. These are the rewards of becoming a high-value man. Now, Shohei is not going to do that. He's barely getting paid. He's only going to be getting, well, barely is a word, right? Because the guy's still getting paid like $50-something million in endorsements. But the way you see how he lives his life, right? It's very freaking minimalistic. He literally walks to the park. He's literally playing baseball all the time. So he's, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but he's like giving off this stereotype of, once again, kind of the model minority Asian, right? The good kid, right? Not the alpha male type of thing. So what do you think about that, honey?
Well, if you're, maybe to some people it looks okay to be that way. Like, okay, well, he's respectful because he's, he's not the bling type. He's living modest, whatever, being modest and everything. But guess what, Shohei? Sometimes maybe because you're being too modest, maybe, you're going to be limited in certain other contracts that's coming in. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we don't have to give him that much because he doesn't want to, you know what I mean? Bling out. You know what I mean? Because his lifestyle is just very simple. That's what they're probably going to say. You know?
Maybe. I was looking at more from the angle of kind of how people perceive Asian men as a whole, right? Like they're going to perceive like this contract as big as it is, right? And real quick, this is a good thing overall, right? Because this reminds us, once again, my Asian brothers, this reminds us that it's not an ethnicity thing, right?
It's
No
a
one
trait.
cares if you're black, if you're white, if you're freaking green, if you're freaking orange. If you can hit the freaking ball 490 feet and you can throw 100 miles per hour and you're the greatest baseball player of all time, they're going to freaking give you your damn money.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, women are going to want you, right? There's women that are throwing themselves at freaking Ohtani right now. You can see it in videos, right? That's obviously, regardless, like I said, the learning lesson is that if you become a high value man, you're a high value man. My point is the image of how other men perceive Asian men, and even to an extent how women perceive Asian men, right? If you're not that go-getter alpha, like I'm the best that ever is, because you never see Shohei like talking about like I'm the best that ever is, right? That killer instinct, that killer attitude. Even nice guys, if you want to think about it, even nice guys like Tiger Woods, they had that on the golf course, right? And of course, even guys that maybe like as a public image, they didn't have that, right? Like Michael Jordan, those guys, they didn't say it in your face on the TV screen.
Yeah, but they showed it in the
but
court.
in the back screen, right? When they're interacting with players
On the court. Yes, they do.
on the court, right? You don't have that killer instinct. Yeah, people respect you for the game, but they're not going to respect you for, I guess, your attitude, who you really are. They're just gonna, like my wife said, there's a potential they're gonna take advantage of you, right? And so that
So
night,
just be careful on that, Shohei. You know, you just seem to come out like.
I want to say this because as an Asian man myself, I lived with this for a long time, and my Asian brothers, a lot of these things, I know it touches home with us, all of us as Asian men, right? We tend to have kind of like this naive mindset until we really get the picture. Until we actually really get the picture and realize, hey, no, we have to be better. We have to do what we have to do to become a better man. We kind of live in this false, like almost like an innocent child mindset. Where we're like, oh, you know, we just be the nice person and then things are going to happen for us. And it's not a big deal. You know, if someone insults us or someone talks shit, it's okay.
Just
right?
brush it off.
Yeah, it's like just brush it off. Like, you're not going to get respect out there. I get it. There's a balance, right? You don't got to be a freaking dick, but you got to show people that you have to.
Don't cross
they
the line.
deserve, you know, your respect, their respect, right? There's a certain line, like my wife says, that can't be crossed. And like I said, as much as I love Shohei for doing what he's doing, I don't know if he's gonna break that stereotype.
Like
you know,
I said.
I hate to say it, but like we keep coming back to this, but really the only Asian celebrity / Asian person that's ever been able to do this, is Bruce Lee.
Yep.
And it sucks, guys. That's freaking what?
Long time ago.
60 years ago?
Like I said, long time ago.
60 years ago, we've had an Asian celebrity or Asian influence that's really garnered respect from all ethnicities and all genders, men and women, right? So I kind of want to end on that, but you want to add anything else to that, honey?
Well, I'm just saying, a man, you shouldn't let things cross your line. Like my husband said, you don't got to be dick. You got to be aggressive, but you got to hold yourself up tall. It's your traits. It's not what your background, not where you're born into.
Yeah.
So you can change that if you want. So respect is earned. It's not always given. You don't have to give them, but it's earned.
Yeah, but you got to command respect. You know, you reach a certain level, you're dealing with everyone alpha. I mean, I hate to say it, when you're the top 0.0001%, you're dealing with everyone that's the top 0.001%, right? There's going to be people in there that are freaking killers, right? They're going to think they're the best. They're going to think that doesn't matter what you prove every single day, right? They're going to be out to get you because that's competitive nature, right?
Yep.
If I'm in that position, I'm the best player, I'm going to compete every single freaking damn day. I'm going to want your spot. If you're the top guy, I'm going to want your spot. That's
Don't let your guard down.
Right.
When you're up there, you're an alpha. Don't let your guard down.
Yeah.
Improve. Always be on the lookout.
And
look
exactly. So not only from other men, but I would say too, just final words of warning. My, Shohei, my Asian brother, women, right? Women, obviously, if you're not careful, can be a huge downfall. It could be your downfall, right? And so, guys, that's a really good lesson. You know, as good as you become, the greatest or whatever, right? It can get ruined if you choose the wrong woman as well, too, right? So
life can be in heaven if you choose the right woman, or it could be in hell because she's never going to be satisfied. You could be Shohei, you could be Elon Musk, and she's never not going to be satisfied. So I'm just letting you know. That's just part of, life. So be careful who you pick.
Hopefully Shohei knows the truth. But hey, guys, thank you so much. It was a little bit different. I kind of want to react to it because everyone's been reacting to it. And also, like I said, I think it's big Asian news. Now, hopefully we can use this as an Asian community to change the stereotype of Asian men.
Yeah.
So, guys, share and comment. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Join us as we give you guys a glimpse into our lives, give you guys advice, hopefully give you guys entertainment value as well, too, and provide you guys better outcomes.
Yes.